So hello everyone, and I do hope everyone is well. And one of your fellow students had a question on homework number one, right? Chapter one. I guess it's P1-7 here, 6 of 10. And they said calculate the tax liability, after tax earnings, and average tax rate for the following levels of partnership earnings before taxes, right? 10,000, 80,000, 300,000, 500,000, 1,000,000, 1.5 million, and 2 million. Okay, now I will open up the tax rate schedule, and I hope the solution follows the tax rate schedule. It may not, but all right. So over 500,000 is 37%, right? All right. So here's the schedule that they ask you to use. Okay, even though this is not true in real life these days, I don't believe, right? All right, so let's look at the solution, and don't worry about the graph here. All right, let's go up here. All right, so here's the solution. The total taxes due is the sum of the base rate tax, right, the base rate, and the product between the marginal rate and the amount over the base bracket. Okay, so here's the actual equation, right? So the tax liability is the base tax plus the marginal rate times the amount over the base bracket. All right, now you know what? I better not try to bring up to mark it up. All right, so the tax liability is $953. So for $10,000 here, sorry, I jumped ahead. So for $10,000, the tax liability would be this amount plus 12% of the amount over 95.25, which would be $1,010, right? So that would be $1,010. So the after-tax earnings are the difference between the taxable income and the tax liability as shown in the following formula. This is simple subtraction, right? Here's your taxable income, and this is how we all do our income taxes, right? And we subtract off our tax liability, which we calculated right there, and this is our after-tax earnings. Okay. So the average, now this is the other equation. The average tax rate is found by dividing the tax liability, which we have right here, right? Our tax liability, by your taxable income. And you notice that's different than your marginal rate. Your marginal rate was what, 12%? Here, your average tax rate is 10.1%, okay? All right, so we did that one, right? So with earnings before taxes of 10,000, the tax liability is 1,010. The after-tax earnings are 8,990, which we calculated, and the average tax rate is 10.1%. Now you would do the same exact thing for each one. So now for 80,000, you would take these numbers off the tables right here, okay? Now the specific question I got was on the 1 million, but here's for the 80,000, okay? I'm going to jump ahead to the 80,000. Here's the 300,000, okay? The math is all the same. You're just picking different numbers off the tables. So let me jump to the 1 million, because that was the question I had. So with earnings before taxes of 1 million, the tax liability is $335,690, right? The after tax, oh, I jumped ahead, right? Hold on. For earnings before taxes of 1 million, sorry, I should be here. Total taxes due is 150,690 plus 37% of the amount over 550,000. Okay? So your after-tax earnings are 1 million minus, this is your total taxes due, right? From this equation here. So your after-tax earnings are $664,310. So my average tax rate, now this is my marginal, right, 37%. So my average tax rate is 33.6%. So with earnings before taxes of 1 million, the tax liability is shown here, right? You see that right there. The after-tax earnings are 664,000 right there, and the average rate is 33.6%. Okay, so I believe that's what the question was, and so I kind of put a red box here around the 1 million. All right. And so those were the numbers. So the answers here were, here is the total taxes due. Here is the after-tax earnings. Here is the average tax rate. Okay. So they summarize it all here. All right. If anybody has any further questions on this, let me know. But it was an excellent question, and I thank the person who asked me. Have a good evening, everybody.